This next session is all about pairing MoEngage's data intelligence with Movable Inc.'s dynamic creative and how it's powering brands to reduce campaign launch times and drive massive customer engagement. Please welcome to the stage Hastu Kicic from MoEngage and Rachel Goss from Movable Inc.
Awesome. So my name is Rachel Goss, Director of Client Experience here at Movable Inc. And today you've been hearing all about the marketer and the machine. So I'm thrilled for our next session, which is really going to be focusing on how we're bridging that gap between tech and creative and marketer and machine. And before we get started, just a little bit about me. So I'm Director of Client Experience, as I mentioned, and our team at Movable Inc. from the client experience side is really focused on helping our clients get themselves unblocked from their tech stack, from all of the things they have to do to try to execute strategy and really be able to scale that vision. So on that note, I'm really thrilled to have Hastu joining us from MoEngage to talk about how we bridge that gap.
Yep. And I'm Hastu. I lead the growth efforts for MoEngage in the region. And at MoEngage, we're an intelligent customer engagement platform that powers end-to-end communications, be it email, push, SMS, app or web personalization for brands like Farfetch, brands like Poshmark, Kayak, Domino's, Pizza Hut, and others. And in my role, I have the pleasure of talking to marketers, such as yourself, and product managers and product leaders about the challenges that they are facing in delivering just that right experience to their users at the right time. And what that essentially means for us is we're bringing data together wherever it might be. We're helping stitch that data together to tell a story of who this customer is, what they care about, and be able to deliver one-to-one experiences to them thanks to the platform that we power. Exactly.
So while MoEngage is that data orchestration piece that's delivering the right message to that customer, we have to remember, right? Customers don't see data pipelines, right? They see and experience content. So where Movable Inc. Studio really pairs nicely here is it's that creative content layer that's personalizing at that moment of engagement, unlocking all the great data from MoEngage and our customers via API and other data sources to really bring that experience to life. So it's not static at send, it's real time at that moment of engagement.
Yeah, so it's the right message at the right time, through the right channel, to the right user.
All right, so tell us, Hastu, so what does this all mean for the marketers in the room today?
Yeah, so instead of talking about everything you can and should do with AI, we figured we'll focus on the use cases that matter to you. We'll focus on the types of campaigns that you're able to run. And this is stuff like your seasonal and time-sensitive campaigns. Behavior-based, whenever somebody takes an action in your app, your website, or even an offline retail store, being able to deliver the right experience in that moment, but not just based on what I've just done, but also taking into account my entire history and everything that I've done with your brand, every purchase I've made, every product I've viewed, and every return I've made too. It's also the loyalty and rewards engagement types of use cases. So real-time loyalty data, not just at the time of send, but of course, thanks to Movable Inc., every time you open that email and engage with the content that we've sent you, you're getting the most real-time update. So the visual, the content, everything from redemption alerts to the personal milestones that we're having with your brands. And then it's the personalized one-to-one offers. And when we say personalized, we're not talking about a segment. We're not talking about, because I'm 35 and live in Brooklyn, I must want the exact same things as everybody else who's 35 and lives in Brooklyn. One-to-one personalization is not that segment-based personalization, and that's what we're helping deliver from both first as well as third-party data. And finally, the lifecycle and the retention of it. So creatives that reflect the lifecycle that I've had with your brand individually, and where I am in the current moment to be able to predict what I want next, what I need next, and add value to my experience with you as a brand.
All right.
And what we wanted to do is try to bring some of these use cases to life with a couple of examples. I know it's just after lunch, but we are going to talk about food a fair bit for the next 5 to 10 minutes. But one of the first examples we wanted to take is an iconic QSR brand, operating at a huge scale, 3,000 plus locations across 48 states. They're also international. Now, anyone that knows me knows I love fried chicken, so this personally means a lot for me, this particular brand. And I'm glad to say what we've been able to do is help them go on a massive transformation, right? It's not a small change at this scale. And going through this transformation together, we were able to deliver about 50% conversions on their holiday campaigns, help them increase the performance of all of their campaigns by about 40%. And it came with a lot of challenges. Not an easy thing to do, not an easy thing to do at scale especially. So, like I'm sure most of you do, a lot of HTML, a lot of time and effort going into building every single email. And that's your bottleneck. That's your bottleneck to delivering that personalized experience. They never had push notification delivery visibility, which I've always found wild. Are you going to be okay not knowing how many emails you actually delivered? And you've got a lot of brands out here that are actually operating without knowing how many notifications are getting delivered, and that was a big challenge. These, combined with other operational challenges, prevented them from being able to scale to not just the millions of loyalty users, but also take into account the nuances of 3,000 plus locations and operators and everything that they needed. So this transformation helped us, even at that scale, move away from pure play HTML builds for every single campaign to drag and drop builders, of course with HTML components within them. Now they know how many push notifications are actually getting delivered, and they fall back when they don't. And they're at a point where cross-channel personalization is real, and I'm sure many of you are experiencing it on a daily basis through this brand.
Awesome, and we are going to see what this looks like in action. So MoEngage here is delivering the right message across the channels, as you can see. So we have a rich push, email, all the way to an experience inside of the app itself. But to really show how we're bridging that gap between the data and the creative, we wanted to double click into this middle example. So inside of this email, let's say Hastu's opening up in Chicago, for example, where it's a balmy 56 degrees outside. So he served this warm jalapeno ranch sandwich. He loves chicken, so perfect, he converts. But me, I'm in Atlanta where it's 82 degrees, right? So I see that same email, but it's automatically changing on the fly in real time based on my location. So I see refreshing beverages. So same message, different creative, totally personalized on the fly here. And the client didn't have to really do too much here. They provided the creative, we brought it to life. They didn't have to code separate messages or HTMLs, anything like that.
Yeah, and it's our platform that's also then helping make the decisions of where should this message really be and where should it go out. So being able to convert your strategy into those true cross-channel, omni-channel experiences.
All right, let's take a look at another one.
Well, we're going to stick with food. And from one of America's favorite food brands to a large global conglomerate that's operating, I think, in most countries in the world right now. 6+ brands currently using MoEngage specifically. We migrated them from someone I'm sure that looks familiar to a lot of you, and I'm sure a lot of you have similar challenges. But what this migration meant to them, again, was an operational reset. It was having hundreds of people on their teams change the way that they work, change the way that they think about customer engagement, honestly change the way they're thinking about the customer in itself, and be able to build campaigns faster, reduce the reliance on engineering teams, and execute in a real-time manner. So they were in a situation where they had a lot of data, still have a lot of data, they can just act on it now, but with that data, it was taking them 24 hours as a marketer to get their hands on this data. Again, very heavy reliance on HTML and scripting languages, And the biggest bottleneck ended up being the reliance on engineering for every new campaign, for every new test, for every new experience. And at the end of the day, the world we're living in is changing by the minute. So by the time they were able to respond to what the customers are experiencing and the moment that they're having with their brands, that moment was gone. What we were able to do, thanks to the platform, thanks to, of course, great partners that we had here, who we'll talk about in a little bit too, we were able to get them to a real-time infrastructure where everything that a user was doing was made available to the marketers in a way that they could utilize it and execute on that data in real time across channels without having to call the tech team, without having to file a ticket and wait 3 days only for them to tell them that they needed more information to act on this. And what that meant is more experimentation, faster iteration, and being able to launch campaigns across more and more channels and surfaces. So bringing the customer into the focus, not the channels, not the data, not the bottlenecks that they had.
Awesome. And here's what this really looks like in action. It's true cross-channel agility. So here on the left, you see inside of the email a countdown timer, getting the customer hyped for this promotion, and we're pairing that with a really interactive in-app peel-off that reveals a video of that offer. So driving redemptions, driving orders, like this delivered results. Or we can have this dynamic carousel that highlights menu picks, and then actually having an in-app interactive poll where the customer is voting on their favorite menu item. So this had great results, drove tons of engagement, but really the cherry on top here is that they were also collecting zero-party data. So when that customer voted on their menu pick, Movable Inc. was collecting that preference, passing it back to the customer's data ecosystem so that partners like MoEngage can then trigger future journeys and really keep that conversation going with the customer.
Yeah, and in this case, it wasn't just Movable Inc. and MoEngage that was delivering these experiences. We, of course, were a part and are a part of a much larger ecosystem here. So wanted to double click a little bit into a couple of their specific challenges. We can talk about that here. So they essentially were in, and I'm sure a lot of you are in a position where you just don't know who these anonymous users are, what are they doing, and these are missed opportunities. You're spending real dollars trying to get folks to your websites, to your apps, to your owned and operated properties. So how do we make sure that we earn the right to your data? How do we make sure that we prove to each individual that's coming to your apps, coming to your websites, that they're going to get value out of sharing their personal information with you? And of course, once you have that personal information, once you know who this user is, how do you make me not regret ever giving you that data? And those were a couple of things that we thought would resonate, because I'm sure everybody here is seeing a lot of that. And what we were able to do here was work with partners like mParticle and Epsilon, and of course a few others there, where mParticle really just helped us bring that real-time data signals together, along with historical data that they already had on millions of these users. We were able to then connect into Epsilon for real-time personalized offers, have them at a cohort or an individual user level, and then, of course, be able to orchestrate those experiences and deliver those messages and experiences, again, right channel, right time, and do it in the moment that the user is having with you again.
Awesome. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So really, it's totally, I think, the holy grail of human-centric loyalty marketing. So capturing those unknown users, as Hastu was just walking through, getting them into the loyalty ecosystem so that they can be served those real-time offers across channels. And here you see within email and within mobile, we're tapping into mParticle to personalize this offer based on customers' eligibility, enrollment, and redemption. ultimately culminating in a beautiful year in review email that really celebrates the customer's loyalty journey with the brand, pulling in multiple data points, which really this would just not be possible with the traditional tech stack.
Yeah, and I think this is just a great example of where technology did not become the bottleneck. And so often we hear marketers talk about, well, I'd love to do this use case, I just can't. I just don't have the data, I just don't have the tools, I just don't have the time. And I think this is an example that I hope resonates with everybody here is the tech you have should work together. It should make your life easier. It should enable you to do more, enable you to focus on the strategy, enable you to focus on thinking about that next experience that you want to drive, the next experiment that you want to run. And how do you make sure that all of this tech works together to deliver for you and your customers? And it's not just another operational overhead for you and your teams. So I think this was a great example of everybody coming together to deliver value for that end consumer and do it in a way that did not make the marketer's life miserable, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. I think so. And these aren't isolated wins, right? This is proof of a winning formula, which is really just this: intelligence plus creative, orchestration plus personalization. And really, the brands that are winning out there aren't necessarily the ones that are spending the most money, but they're the brands that are really bridging the gap between understanding their customers and showing them.
Yeah, and I don't know if we're the first ones not to say AI today, but I just said it, but then again,
AI.
talking about human or AI and just talking about the company that you'd keep working with, either or both of us. The way we're looking at it is AI is an enabler, the machine's the enabler. It enables you to do more, act faster, experiment, iterate, and deliver better experiences, and give you more time to think, give you more time to strategize, give you more time to set you up for success. And if you haven't seen our booth yet, we're at booth 7. Some of these stories of marketers who are on that human plus AI journey, or the marketer and machine journey, are talking about a lot of their successes and challenges in a magazine that's available there. It's a magazine we've, of course, developed with Movable Inc. and a few other of our partners. So come out, meet the team, get the magazine, learn more about human or AI, or human and AI, man, machine, and marketer, all of that.
Awesome. And thanks, everyone, so much for joining. Let's give a round of applause to Hastu from the Mo Engage team.
And Rachel from...
Thank you, thank you. And if you are trying to get that $1,000 Southwest gift card, make sure to get your partner passport stamped and visit Hastu and the Mo Engage team at booth 7. Have a great rest of Think Summit, everybody.